it is Amelia from Live Well and Live Frugal. In today's video we are going to be talking about frugal tips and tricks in the kitchen. And before I forget, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can get updated on all my new videos. So without any more chit chat, let's get started. Hi guys, so before we get into our frugal tips and tricks in the kitchen, I just wanted to remind you to hit the red subscribe button down below and hit the bell notification for you will be notified when my new videos come out. Okay, so these tips and tricks are basically, some are food related, some are just kitchen related. You'll see what I mean. The first tip to save some money in the kitchen is have a bread bag. What is a bread bag? This is a bread bag. It's a Ziploc bag that you keep in your freezer, basically. So what I do is if I have a Heels and for some reason we don't eat them, I like Heels, but sometimes we just have leftover Heels and they get thrown in the bread bag. I don't know why. But I have Heels, crackers, Cheerios, anything flour based that goes stale or you only have a little bit left or not enough for a meal or whatever, throw in a bag. I just process this so that way that's why there's no actual crackers and stuff in here. Throw it in a bag and throw it in your freezer. When you get a full bag, take it out. I bake mine on a low setting to draw out all the moisture and basically crisp them up, you know, make them, there's no moisture in them, and then I blend them until I get this fine bread crumb texture. Now, what do I use this for? I use it for breadcrumbs. I use it in recipes. Let's say I have almost enough flour, but I have like 1/4 of a cup that I'm missing. I will put this in there to help replace it. I just used it this weekend because we were making beer rocks and we made bread dough, homemade bread dough for our beer rocks, and we forgot to keep some flour for rolling out the bread dough, like not rolling it but kneading it, and the bread dough was a little sticky still after it rose, so I used this in place of the flour to knead it on and add a little bit to it, and it worked just fine. Couldn't even tell that this was in it at all. Especially when it was baked. Like when you were rolling it you could, but when it baked you couldn't even tell because it's all bread based. So is this flour? No, it's not flour, but it can help you in a pinch. And you can also, I mean, for bread, they're breadcrumbs, so you can use it for anything breadcrumbs. And you don't have to grind it as fine, like blend it as fine as mine is, because mine's very fine. But it just helps in a pinch, and it also uses up stale cracker, you know, those things that would have just got thrown away. Okie dokie. The next thing I'm going to talk about is taco seasoning. I do not buy taco seasoning. Yes, I know taco seasoning is cheap, but I don't buy it because I don't like it. It has a lot of junk in it, and I just really don't like it. And I feel like it might be cheap, but for as little of seasoning you actually get, it's really worth it. So I make my own taco seasoning, and it's very simple. Mine's not really that fancy. I have to get a drink of coffee, sorry. Mine's really not that fancy. I have it in a little Tupperware container. Shaker thing. I love these. I'm like obsessed with Tupperware. So I just put the labels taco on it. It's half chili powder basically and half cumin, and that's it. Now, regular taco seasoning probably has a lot more salt in it and other seasonings, and definitely has some dried chopped onions. But I use fresh onions in my taco meat, so I never have to worry about the onions, and I don't like adding salt to hardly anything. If I do add salt, it's very little. So I really just don't like adding salt. So, I just use this. half chili powder, half cumin, and it lasts quite a while, and I love it. We've always used this for a very long time. I think maybe like the first year me and my husband were married, we used regular taco seasoning, and then I started using this. So, and I think I started using this just out of running out of taco seasoning and finding out all the junk that was on taco seasoning and finding this as an alternative, and I've been using it ever since. So, just a little bit of stories. Okay, in my kitchen, I do not use paper towels. Okay, correction. I do use paper towels, but not in the way you think. Okay, so I don't use paper towels to clean up messes. It's wasteful to me. I don't like creating more garbage than I need to. And it's also can get expensive. Like, I know, yeah, one roll of paper towels for $1 or even for 50 cents might not seem like a lot, but it adds up. I mean, it really adds up. And if you want the nicer ones, it even adds up faster. I use washcloths to clean. You know, I can just rewash them, reuse them over and over and over and over again. Even the cheap washcloths, they might not be the greatest, but you can use them for a long time. They might not look the prettiest, but you can use them for a long time. But I do have a roll of paper towels, usually in my kitchen. Actually out right now. But roll of paper towels usually lasts me about 2 months or so in my kitchen because I only use them for certain things. I only use them for bacon. When I cook bacon, I'll put them on there to soak up the rest of the grease. Or potatoes, like fried potatoes, anything fried. Or when I cook, or when I put my lettuce into the bags and into jars in the fridge, I'll put a paper towel in there to help soak up any extra moisture to keep it fresh longer. That's the only thing I use paper towels for, really, is for cooking food, like draining the oil off food, getting less oil, or getting more oil off the food, or salads. That's it. Like I said, it lasts me quite a while, one roll does, so I usually just buy like a $1 roll of them, and I'm good to go for quite a while. And you know, $1 every 2 months, I can deal with that. That means I'm only spending $6 a year on paper towels, and that's okay with me if it keeps my salad fresh. Okay, the next one might be a little bit of a hot topic. I know some people are like, ew, gross, and some people are like, yeah, I do that too. But I do it, so I'm going to say it. So I used to keep my zipper bags, like my Ziploc bags, and reuse them. I'd wash them out and reuse them. But if they were like withheld meat, I wouldn't, you know. Or I would just keep the same one in the freezer and just refill it with that ingredient. Like I chop onion, so I just keep the same onion one in the freezer, and I just throw them in there and, you know, chop them. Now, I still use some zip bags, but I don't use as many as I used to because I got a food saver at the Goodwill Distribution Center for $5. $5. Worked. It's amazing. It was like almost brand new. It was awesome. Everybody thought it was a printer, so nobody was getting it, and I got it. Anyways, these I bought Ziploc ones. I mean, if you want to follow the rules, you follow the rules. But I'm a rebel. And I'm using Ziploc with my food saver vacuum sealer. Anyways, these vacuum bags, they cost quite a bit of money. I mean, they're not hugely expensive, but they're kind of expensive. And I am planning on ordering some offline, but it's still pretty expensive. So I reuse my vacuum seal bags. I'll vacuum seal whatever ingredients in it. Once I use it, I'll immediately flip it inside out, scrub it really good with really good soap and warm hot water, and then rinse it really well, and then I'll just leave them flipped out and let them dry. Hang dry. Like, I have this little thing that I can slide them on and let them dry. Now, if I use them for meat, I don't reuse them. So if they've been stealing meat, I won't reuse them. But a lot of veggies, I'll reuse them. And most of the time I'm putting these same veggies back into the bags. So, I mean, I don't personally see a problem with it. I do make sure there's like no holes in the bags because that would really just defeat the whole purpose of having a vacuum sealer. But I really haven't had a problem with it yet. I'm not sure how long, like how many reuses I can get out of them. But so far I've only on like my second reuse of them. And I haven't had a problem with them. So I like doing it. And yeah, some people might think it's gross, and that's fine. You don't have to do it. But that's just one way I personally save money around the kitchen. Okay, the next thing I do is I save veggie scraps. I really like to save my onion tops, my carrot tops or ends, my celeries, like the ends of the celery, all kinds of things. You know, I just wash them. Wash like the celery ends, not the onions, but like the celeries. I even save the skin of most of my onions. Because I buy onions. I've done a video on how to chop onions. I'll link it in the eye, wherever it's at. And I usually cut the tops off my onion, just the thin top off of it. And I'll keep the top and the skins. And then I chop my onions and freeze them. And, you know, I do like 9 pounds at a time though. But I'll usually keep the skins. And I like to just throw all my veggies. And sometimes I'll even do it with like potatoes. If I have a lot of potatoes, or I don't know. Just any veggies really. Mainly those 3 though. I really like to keep. And I'll just throw them in the bag. And then when I'm getting ready to make broth with my chicken bones, I'll take my onion tops, my carrot tops, my celery remnants, and I will just throw them in my broth stuff. And that way I don't have to waste my fresh carrots or anything. And it's delicious. I mean, it comes out great. So yeah, it's just something to use those scraps up, you know. Okie dokie. Oh, and that's another thing I wanted to say. Make your own broth. It's so easy to do, especially if you have a crock pot, or even better if you have a pressure cooker. Like even a stove one, but I have an electric one, and I love making broth on it. It's so fast and easy. You just take your bones from your chicken and any of the fat that's remaining, skin, whatever. I call it the chicken carcass. And then you can, if you don't have to add onions and carrots and celery, but it makes it taste so much better. And you just cook it. But anyway, if you want to see a video on my broth, I don't think I've done one. Let me know down below. And that is all I have today for my frugal kitchen tips and tricks. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And turn on the notifications for you know when I upload other videos. But if you like this video and would like to see more, let me know down in the comments. I hope you have a great day, and thank you for watching. And don't forget to live well and live frugal.